I've been waiting to become something more to tell my story, but who I am and what I am is enough. So here is my story. My name is Helena Ni. I was born in 1974 in Cambodia. On April 17, 1975, after the United States left Vietnam, a communist regime known as the Khmer Rouge, Pol Pot, took over Cambodia. Without any outside help, the regime killed over 2 million of their own people within 3 years, 8 months, and 20 days by means of execution, torture, overwork without adequate rest or food, starvation, and disease. When I was a year old, the war had separated my mother and father. By the time I was 3 years old, my mother died from starvation, leaving me with 2 older cousins. One was 9, and the other was a young teenager. My teenage cousin could not care for us at that time. There was no food or shelter. He had no choice but to leave us with a perfect stranger so that he could escape the country on his own in hope to find my father. Soon after he left, the stranger and us was taken to be executed. On the way to our execution, the universe stepped in through a kind lady who was head of the agriculture for the communist regime. She was able to ask the executioners if she could have my cousin and me. They agreed and gave us to her. In 1979, the communists was defeated by the Vietnamese. The killings were over, but the memories and the sadness of the entire country are still present today. For the first 10 years of my young life, I lived in a place beyond poverty. There was lack of food, water, and shelter. There was no electricity, no toilet, indoor or out. But as for my heart, my mind, my spirit, and my soul, I had a very strong imagination. For years, I would imagine that one day my father will find me and bring me home. I never knew where home was, whether he was dead or alive, but it never stopped me from imagining a better life for myself. One day, my imagination became reality. A stranger came into a small village where I lived and gave a letter to my adopted mother. It was from my father requesting for my cousin and I to be returned to him. The universe heard my prayer. My older cousin had escaped, found his way to America and to my father. By that time, my adopted mother had grown to love and care for us. She was not willing to give us back. She requested for my father to come for us in person in order to verify that he was indeed my father. During that time, hundreds of thousands of children were separated from their family, and many were kidnapped and sold into human trafficking. These problems are still on the rise today. Unable to return to Cambodia himself for political reasons, my father was persistent to finding ways to get us out for 6 more years. By then, my older cousin had become a young woman, got married, had a family of her own. My adopted mother finally agreed to let me leave my small village to be properly educated in Phnom Penh, the capital of Cambodia. Little did she know that that was my ticket out. This was the opportunity that my father needed to get me out of Cambodia and ultimately to America. During the next year and a half, I was placed in countless foster homes, several orphanages, and imprisonment for 6 months in Thailand for political reasons. I finally arrived in Burbank, California in 1987. I was reunited with my father and his new family. Out of respect for what he went through to get me to America, and my own traumatic experience, I never wanted to go back to Cambodia for my fear of being lost again. In 2007, I became a citizen of the United States, and on January 2009, my father passed away. 4 months after my father's pass, and through an intense healing of my emotional past, I gathered up my courage and returned to Cambodia for the first time in 23 years. On April 2009, I made my first return back to Cambodia. I can't begin to describe the amount of fear and emotions that was running through me. With my heart full of gratitude, I want to thank my friends, family, strangers, clients, teachers of love, and teachers of life for all your assistance in any way, shape, or form. Your love and support allowed me to face my past, heal my life, so that I'm able to help others with my presence. I returned to find that the home where I was found is still there. The cousin that never made it out with me died of cancer, leaving 3 young children behind. And today they're all grown up and doing well. I pay my respect to my adopted mother. I am so grateful that she is alive and healthy. I pay my respect to my elders. In my experience, I know that it takes the whole universe to raise a child, and these are some of the small villages and the people in the universe that helped keep me alive. She saved me from children execution. He found me for my father. She nursed me back to health when I was sick. He fought very hard to get me out of the village so I can get to my father. She was one of my foster grandmother for 6 months. He helped me escape the jungle from Cambodia into Thailand, 3 days and 2 nights of hell on earth. I'm very grateful for her help in finding all the people from my past. I returned to my old temple where I used to go and pray for my father to find me. I returned to my old school to see aspects of my old self I have left behind. With your donations and with my own money, I was able to buy the children school supplies, toys, clothing, toothbrush, toothpaste, sandals, and provide scholarship for older children to continue to go to school. It was so hard at times that I would break down in front of the children. I see myself in them. I also made them a promise that I will return to bring them more smiles. And on April 2011, I made my second return. This time, with your donations, I was able to build the children their very first playground. They also got new uniforms, more school supplies, toys, clothing, toothbrush, toothpaste, more scholarships for older children to continue to be in school. The school in this village only goes up to 6th grades, and the average age that Cambodian children can read and write is 15 years old. Most of these children don't have a lot of choices but to work and help support their family, and the average family have 5 or more children. Some of these children get sent to the city to work in factories for less than $1 a day.
wish we could go back and save the child.
And in too many cases, they become victims of human trafficking. Many of times, my heart was so intoxicated from the love and the gratitude and the smiles the children would give me for the smallest things I give them. They're very polite and very grateful to be in school. I donated some money to the teachers as they get paid $50 a month. I donated some money to the parents as they work all day and barely make $1. I inspired the local businessman to donate to the children. The children were amazing. They have no television, no radio, no Xbox, no toy box, barely any clothes on their back or shoes on their feet. But they are so happy to be alive, so eager to learn. So I made this video and sent it off to the universe, requesting for assistance for me to be a conduit to help and add more smiles to the children's faces and bring more light to brighten up their future. My old school caught my attention. So many students, but not enough classrooms or teachers. The children walk miles to get to school with no clean water to drink. There are 2 tiny holes for a bathroom for almost 250 children and very unsanitary. Hundreds of millions of dollars has been donated from around the world into Cambodia. Yet, 80% of the people still live without electricity, clean water, barely enough food or shelter, and most are still without an outhouse. I have spoken to some government officials and asked them why have they not done more to help the people. They seem to have no straight answers. We can no longer wait for any government to change our world. We each have to take our own steps, big or small, to do it for ourselves and for each other. Because the others are truly different aspects of ourselves. We can do something small in America and make such a huge impact on foreign countries. For example, the population of Cambodia is now over 15 million people, in a small country the size of Missouri or Oklahoma. 50% of the population are under 21 years old. I feel that what Cambodia needs most is their young minds to have the opportunity to be educated, so the country can rise and heal from the atrocity that their parents and grandparents had gone through. I met this group of young children that are victims of human trafficking. They told me that they would like to be in school, but they cannot. They're forced to beg and sell stuff on the streets. All my life, I fought to survive. Now that I know I'm safe and alive, I have to get back to life. I feel really strongly connected to the children. Loving them is like loving different aspects of myself. My passion in life is learning, and I'm very grateful to America for the opportunity and the freedom to learn and grow, to be and do what my heart desires. I desire very much for your heart to open and help donate to educate these young minds. To find out ways that you can help, please visit helenanee.com/Cambodia.